Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. I'm officially back from my maternity leave and I cannot wait to begin filming videos for you. I'm wondering how I'm going to juggle everything now that I have to go back to filming. I've popped in here and there with a couple of videos throughout the 7 weeks that I've been gone, but I am done with the pre-recorded stuff. I have to be back now, and the first video I'm going to film, as you saw in the title, is a Natasha Denona mini palette review. Natasha Denona just came out with the mini rose palette right here, and I am pretty basic. I do love me a rose palette. Depends on the tone of pink for me. Like, I have had very pink, like fuchsia palettes in the past where I am not as in love with them, but when it comes to like soft rosy tones, I'm always all over them. Do I probably have similar colors to these in my collection? Most likely. In fact, I believe some of these shades are repeats, which we'll talk about as the video goes by. If by the end of this video you are interested in trying this palette, please shop the Natasha Denona website and get 15% off using my code PATTY15. Whenever you buy anything at all from the Natasha Denona website, you can always use my code PATTY15 to save 15% off of your purchase, and I do get a little kickback from that, which is tremendously helpful. So whenever you shop from my codes or my links, obviously it helps out my channel. Anyways, I cannot wait to get into this little palette, swatch it, do a couple of looks with it, talk about the shades, the repeats, and do some comparisons and all of that good stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. I will say the Natasha Denona website was probably having some extra promotion when I purchased this, because I used my code to get 15% off myself, and I bought two things because I believe the little palette on its own doesn't give you free shipping. So I added a lip liner because I could always have another Natasha Denona lip liner. So I got the little rose palette and then the Natasha Denona. I need a nude lip crayon in the shade P5 Gaia, which I'll put on towards the end of the video. And with the purchase of these two items, I got two freebies. When I opened my package today, I was pleasantly surprised that they included this little eyeshadow single in there. This is from the Zendo palette. The shade is called Sense, and it comes in this little tiny single pan. I love that I can probably switch out the shade in here if I want to take it with me traveling anywhere. And then they also sent me a mini Natasha Denona eyeliner, which these are fantastic. I do have a few other products that I want to try throughout the video that I have been getting in PR or purchased. Like, I have yet to try the Natasha Denona Hygiene Skincare Infused Glow Beautifier. This is that new Natasha Denona highlighter, so I'll try this today, see how it works on my textured skin. And then I have a new blush to try from COLLAB. These are the liquid blushes from COLLAB. I have a few shades I can swatch for you, and I'll apply one of these. And I also have some new lippies from Too Faced. These are the Kissing Jelly glosses. I have 6 shades to swatch for you, and I'll pair one of them with the Natasha Denona lip liner that I bought. Very excited to get into it, so let's start with some swatches. Once you open the mini rose palette from Natasha Denona, here's what the palette looks like. From left to right, the shades are Golden Rose, Opart, Flamingo, Psychedelic, and Andy. Here's the shade Golden Rose, which is like a pink, but it also has a bit of a peachy duochrome. Then we have the color Opart, which is a matte brown, followed by the shade Flamingo, which is also a matte brown shade. And Psychedelic is one of these beautiful crystal-like sparkles that Natasha Denona makes. Take a look at how beautiful that shade shines. And then last but not least, we have the matte shade Andy, which is a beautiful taupey rose tone. When I posted about this palette, I actually got a super helpful message from one of you telling me which shades of this squint are from which palette, except for one, but I just looked it up, so let me give you guys the rundown and also my thoughts, because I pulled up some of the shades that these are supposed to be the same as, and I believe that even though the colors are very similar, the formulas are a little different. I'll explain in a second. Anyways, the first shade, this one right here called Golden Rose, it's not in any specific palette, but it seems to be an eyeshadow single you could purchase from the Natasha Denona website. So that is what that shade is. I obviously did not have it because I don't think I have any Natasha Denona singles. I guess I do now, but I didn't before. So that is this shade Swatch right here, which is a peachy pinky duochrome, not too sparkly, just a nice sheen to it. Then we have some repeat shades, starting with this brown color here, and that is the shade Opart. This is the Opart I swatched from the Quint, and the shade Opart is in the Retro Midi palette. It's this brown right here. Now, I believe the formulas are a little different. Here's the Opart from the Midi palette, and the Retro palette has a lot of like creamy shades that are more cream than a powder in my opinion, and Opart in this one here feels a lot more of a regular powder shade from Natasha Denona than the creams that Natasha Denona makes. Hopefully I'm making sense, but basically this Opart here feels like a cream shade versus this Opart here feels to me more of a true matte powder eyeshadow. And you can see the difference actually. See how the one from the Retro palette looks a bit more wet, a little more intense from the wetness, I would say. And the one in my middle finger is the Opart from the new Mini Rose palette, which is a true powder formula. I'm going to skip a shade ahead so I can explain the same thing about another color, which was the first one I noticed, or actually a couple of shades ahead. So I'm going to go all the way back here to the shade Andy from the Natasha Denona Rose Midi palette, which again feels like a true matte powder formula from Natasha Denona. And I'm going to compare it to the shade Andy from the palette here, which feels like a cream. This Andy here feels truly like a cream shade versus the powder from the mini palette. So yes, they are the same shade, but the formulas are different. You can see how this one has that leathery shine to it. This is again the one from the Retro palette, and this one is a true matte shade that you get in the new Mini Rose palette from Natasha Denona. So while the shades are the same, the formulas are different. And here they are, I think side by side I put them. I made it really hard for myself to show you, but take a look right there at how the shades swatch a little bit different because of the difference in their formula. The shade that is in the Retro palette that is exactly the same as what you're getting in the Mini Rose palette is the shade Psychedelic, which is this beautiful shimmer metallic shade right here in the middle. And that one is the same exact formula as the Psychedelic that you get right here on the Mini palette. Lastly, the middle shade I left for last, which is the shade Flamingo. And Flamingo is a shade that is available or you can find in the green brown palette from Natasha Denona. I don't own the green brown palette myself, so to me that is a new shade. And I'm assuming I'm going to end up using it as a base since it is a pretty light color. So hopefully that helps you in deciding whether or not you need this Mini Rose palette from Natasha Denona. Yes, the shades are all repeats, but even if you have the Retro palette, the formulas in my opinion are different. And I have to be honest, I prefer her true matte powder formulas to the ones that are very creamy. I can totally make her creamy formulas work for me. I have done it countless times, but her matte powder shades are incredible. So do with that information what you will. Thank you so much, Sandy, if you're watching, for leaving that comment. It was very helpful. All right, I pulled my hair back as you can see, and let's get started with the eyeshadow looks. I'm going to do a couple. Starting with my Rephr number 15 brush and the shade Flamingo. If you guys don't have Rephr brushes yet, I highly recommend them. They usually have some sales on their concept store where you can get these brushes for half the price. And you can find that link down below. These are my favorite natural hair brushes. They are incredible. They blend eyeshadow super seamlessly. And as you can see, that shade Flamingo is blending right into my skin because it's basically the color of my skin tone. So I'm just using it as a base for eyeshadows to come. Since it's a base shade, I'm actually going to do it on both eyes, even though my eyeshadow looks will be different. I'm going to grab the shade Andy, which is this stunning cool tone rose, and I'm going to add Andy to the crease of my eye, starting on the outer corner, and then slowly blending it upwards and inwards, just like so. A little bit more Andy to add right here through the center of my crease, and again just back and forth blended. With the Rephr number 13 brush and more of that shade Andy, I'm going to smoke out my lower lash line by just diffusing that shade underneath my lower lashes here and connecting it with the top, adding a little more Andy to the outermost corner of my eyelid here to intensify it a bit. And then I'm going to grab the shade Golden Rose with my finger, and I'm going to tap it right in the center. A little more. I actually think I'm going to take it all the way in, and then I'll layer the other shimmer over top of it. So all the way to the inner corner. And then with a flat brush, this is the first one that I saw. This is the E57 from Sigma. And you guys, my Sigma curated favorites brush set is going to be on sale. Let me get the email so that you know, because this is the first time that my set is going to be on sale. I'm very excited about it. The Sigma semi-annual sale is already going on, and you can get 15% off of my Sigma set and then an additional 10% over top using my code Patricia Alonso. So that is like around 22% off of my Sigma set. My Sigma set, definitely check it out. It's obviously my favorite Sigma brushes. I have 3 eyeshadow brushes in there and 2 complexion brushes, and it is basically everything you need for a full face of makeup. So if you've been interested or wondering about it, definitely check it out. It's never been on sale before, so this is a good time to grab it. Anyways, Sigma brush E57, which is in my set, and I'm going to grab the shade Psychedelic here. And this is not only going to be my innermost corner shade right there, but also I want to layer it over top of Golden Rose for a bit of added sparkle, because I love me some sparkle. So just like that, around the third of the way in, I think, from the inner corner, just like that. So that right there is look number 1. I will finish it up with eyeliner, mascara, all of that, but before I get there, let's go ahead and work on this one. With a smaller eyeshadow brush from Rephr, I'm going to grab the shade Opard right here, and I'm going to tap it on the outermost corner of the eye, right back here, and from there, I'm going to blend it back and forth into the crease. Remember, I already used the shade Flamingo as a base on this eye, so I'm putting this on top of a base shade, which will help it blend even smoother. So back and forth with the tip of my brush, I am blending that shade into my crease, and I'm going to add a bit more to intensify things on my outer corner. I also want to add that same dark brown shade with the same brush to the innermost corner of the eye, and once again blend it into the crease from there. So I'm just going to connect it here at the top and just make sure that the brown shade is diffusing nicely on the crease of my eye. So with a very light pressure, I'm just going to run that brush through the upper edge. I'm going to take a makeup wipe and just run it right here through the center of my eyelid, because I want to take a bit of that brown away from the center. And with my powder puff, I'm just going to mattify that hole I just made. Anyways, I think I'm going to go straight in with the shade Psychedelic. Hopefully this will work, and I'm just going to tap it right in the center of the eyelid there, right on top of where I took my makeup off. See, you can't tell anymore. It just looks nice and bright, and it's blending into the brown shade nicely on the edges. In order to help it further blend into the edges, I'm going to go back with my blending brush and just tap the edges of the shimmer. Tap, tap, tap right there. With my Rephr number 13, I'm going to smoke out the outer corner of my lower lash line. I'm going to go into the shade Flamingo with my number 13 brush and diffuse that lower edge a bit. Things were looking a bit too intense underneath. I'm also going to add a bit of the brown right underneath my tear duct area here. And once again, the shade Psychedelic, this time with my pinky finger. I'm going to add it right in the center of my under eye. Lastly, with the E57 once again, and more of the shade Psychedelic, I want to add this as my inner corner highlighter. Bringing it in a little right here so that it blends with the browns. As you can see, I have a little bit of fallout from the shade Psychedelic. I was not careful with it at all, so you be careful with it. Anyways, here's my dark smoky brown halo eye. I love the sparkle, and you can definitely see the contrast between that and the more romantic soft look I did over here on this side. I got a clean brush and I'm just making sure things look blended back here. It looked a little funny to me a second ago. I'm going to use this double-ended eyeliner from Charlotte Tilbury, and I'm going to use one side on each eye. So I'm going to use the creamy side on my more romantic eyeshadow look over here. Just adding this to my waterline. And then the brown eyeliner over on this side. Back with mascara and lashes on, and these half lashes are beautiful. But not only that, let me tell you what they are. They're from Kiss. They are the new natural lash, and my half lashes are, I think, are named Glowy Skin. I'll link them below. They're beautiful, easy to put on half lashes, which are very flattering. Loving this. So anyways, take a look right here at the finished eyeshadow looks. I'm really loving them, and of course, no complaints about the Natasha Denona formula. For a while now, she hasn't changed her formula, and it's been consistently amazing with every palette release. Let me go ahead and finish up the makeup look with some blush and highlighter and lipstick. So for blush, I want to try the new COLLAB liquid blushes. Here's the 4 colors they sent me, and this is what the packaging looks like. I love the little heart at the top. This shade is called Royal Flush. Whoa, pigment. Let me see how they blend out. Very nicely. So not scary pigment, just nice pigment. This color is Angel Face, which is a beautiful Barbie pink. Super Shy, which is most likely what I'll end up wearing. Actually, maybe not. It's a bit warmer than this eyeshadow look here. And then the last one is Culver City. I'm pretty sure they have more shades, by the way. These are just the ones that I got in PR. Culver City is a beautiful brownish, burnt brownish type of shade. So I'm actually going to surprise myself, and I'm going to go with the shade Angel Face, which is this beautiful pink one here, because it'll match better with the pink eyeshadow look. I'm just going to do 1 dot, and with my Rephr LC01 brush, which is already out, hopefully still available. I don't know if it's sold out. This brush is incredible. I actually did my bronzer and my foundation with it today. No, just my bronzer. Here's the shade Angel Face, and this is what 1 dot looks like. Very pigmented. Let me blend it all the way to my eye right here by my temple. That is a beautiful color. I think I would have done maybe a little less. I did a very full 1 dot. So I'm going to do it on this side again, but I think I would have preferred to be a little more light-handed with it. It looks beautiful regardless. I'm just shy when it comes to blush. Alright, so here's that blush blended on both sides. It took me a while to get them to look even because I applied too much on the second cheek after I already said it was too much on the first one. Anyways, let's keep going with this Natasha Denona highlighter that I have been dying to try, but I wanted to do it on camera. I didn't want to try it on my own. So it's been sitting here for like 2 months, actually maybe even more. This is the High Gen highlighter from Natasha Denona in shade 01. Let's go ahead, and that looks beautiful. Whoa. Let's go ahead and swatch it. I feel like this is not going to enhance my texture. It looks pretty intense. I'm going to grab a small brush. This is the BK Beauty 201, and I'm just going to blend some of that highlighter on the highest point of my cheekbone here. That looks very natural. I'm actually going in with this little brush, and you can see how nicely that goes on. It doesn't do too much too fast. It is blending nicely on my cheekbone there. I think with your finger you would probably do a lot more, yeah, than with a brush. So if you want to be very light-handed with it, definitely go for a brush. But then you can always add a little bit extra right on the temple area. I think that looks pretty. I'm impressed. I like it. If you have textured skin, I don't feel like it's enhancing my texture like a lot of other highlighters do. I feel like this looks better. But you guys are looking at it on the other side of the camera, so you can be the judge of that too. I feel like this looks pretty good for such a nice bright highlighter. It kind of has the same effect as the liquid highlighters from Charlotte Tilbury, which I love, but this is the powder. So it's impressive that it looks that good. And all I have left to do is lips. So I'm going to use my new Natasha Denona lip liner in the shade Gaia. It's warmer than I expected. I don't dislike it, I just thought it would go with this eyeshadow palette better. It's a little warmer than I anticipated, but it looks pretty. It actually goes with the palette pretty nicely. And I can make it a little more cool tone with whatever I combine it with. What I had brought out to combine it with is these Jelly Kissing glosses from Too Faced. I'm going to swatch them all for you, but let's do one that is a bit more cool tone, maybe the blue one. And see if it makes this a bit more pink looking. So this one is the shade Sweet Cotton Candy, which is this blue clearish gloss color. And I'm just going to mix it with that lip liner. I think that did actually help. I think it looks a bit more cool toned, a bit less contrasting at the very least. These Jelly Kissing glosses feel incredible on the lips, by the way. And something I always have to do is clean the wand before I put it back in whenever I mix things with a lip liner, because I don't want the lip liner color to mix back in with the gloss. So let me swatch some of the other shades for you. This is Bubblegum right here, which is this stunning shade. Then we have this one, which I do think I did already try this one in a different video a while ago. This is the shade Grape Soda, which was the shade that made me fall in love with these. These are like basically like lip oils with a bit of sparkle to them and also a little bit of a hint of color. The main thing though is how good they feel on the lips. They feel incredible. So this beautiful shade right here is called Sour Watermelon. And this is what it looks like swatched. I added a second layer so you can see that undertone a little more. This darker one is called Raspberry. And here's what it looks like. And last but not least, this beautiful gold sparkly one is called Piña Colada. And here's what that looks like. You know what? I want to compare Piña Colada with the new Natasha Denona lip gloss that I hated. If you guys saw my Charlotte Tilbury Stick Foundation review, I tried this Natasha Denona gloss in that video and I hated it because it stinks. I hate the smell of it. I didn't realize it was a plumping gloss and I do not like it. But I feel like Piña Colada from Too Faced, if you're into lip oils more so than plumping glosses, could be a good dupe for it because it also has the golden sparkles and it's clearish, and then it's not going to be a stinky plumping gloss, you know? These are the final looks right here and the finished complexion look, if you will. I have one more thing to do before I go, and that is show you the new Natasha Denona Mini Rose palette next to some other mini palettes that have rosy tones in them. I basically pulled anything that was remotely similar to this just to show you the side-by-side comparisons. But if I'm being honest, I don't think that any of these look similar at all. So here is the Mini Rose palette next to the Mini Starlet palettes. I don't even know why I pulled this one out. Again, even remotely similar things I pulled. Mini Rose next to the My Mini Dream palettes. Mini Rose next to the My Mini Crush palette. And lastly, Mini Rose next to the Mini Love palette. Very, very different. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up if you like it. If you're interested in the Mini Rose palette from Natasha Denona, you can definitely do at least a couple different looks with it. I would dare say probably 3 to 4 different looks, because there is color combinations left in this little quint to pair together. Anyways, if you're interested in it, shop it using my discount code PATTY15 on the Natasha Denona website, or if you're interested in buying anything else Natasha Denona, please use my discount code if you want to. I love you all so much. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I'm very happy I'm back, and I hope to see you back in the next video. Bye.